Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Let's get right into it. So we have the Bradley Beal trade to the Phoenix Suns. Interesting trade with a lot of layers to it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't love the trade. Here's why. If you're Phoenix, you're really trapping yourselves over the next 3 years, especially four. You're taking on basically a $251 million contract, which is what Bradley Beal basically has if not more, but something in that large range. And if you look at it, their payroll is basically tied to three players. We have Bradley Beal at around 32.5 million, Kevin Durant, which is going to be the highest. I'm sorry, excuse me. Bradley Beal is around 46.5 million. You're going to have Kevin Durant, which is going to be around 47.5. Booker, 36 million. And then you have Ayton, 32.5. So, and to tell you the truth, you have Ayton, who's probably not going to be there because they're going to need some kind of depth to this team, and we'll get into that more in a moment. But I think on the surface, this happened last season. We fell in love with the names on the back of the jersey instead of using common sense and realizing all because Bradley Beal was successful scoring highly in Washington does not mean that's going to translate over to Phoenix. That's the first thing. Remember, his highest point total is when he has a high usage rate. He's not used to being on a team with two other superstar scorers. Even John Wall was not the scorer he was. So he always knew he would get that option. So now when you look at it, how will he adjust to that, number one? And then you have to look at, okay, two, where is this bench? I think that's concerning as well. That we'll get into more in a moment. But I think that's key. So many people last year, when Kevin Durant got traded to Phoenix, immediately thought it was going to be a top team. And I said, wait a second, let's not assume anything based on the back name on the jersey. Let's see how it plays out. And the same thing is happening here as well. We are rushing to judgment on the Bradley Beal situation because we're just looking at the names on the back of the jersey. This team will be good, no question. Top 5, yes. Automatic top 2 seed, absolutely not. That is insane talk. We have to remember high usage rate. That's the key here. High usage rate. He won't have that in Phoenix. It will be more of get in where you fit in. How will he adjust to that? Will he be able to get in rhythm if he's not the vocal point of the offense? Because he's been the vocal point for a long time. I think that's the biggest thing here. People always get trapped in the, well, how he played in Washington is how he'll play here. That is not the case at all. And you look at it now. It seems like this always happens. The media and the fans always forget this. They always get caught up in all this scoring and all this other nonsense. What they always pop back on is the size. But they only do that when it's convenient in the postseason. They always have to wait for that nonsense. Before that, they always praise these small teams with no size. Then we get in the postseason, and they get dominated. Oh, we need size. Not falling for it. The other variable to this Beal trade is, where is the bench? Where is the size? Because the odds are this team is so top-heavy, you're going to have to trade Ayton. And are you going to get back max value, especially now because teams don't want to help a super team. Teams don't want to help a big three get better off top. Plus, with his big contract, does a team want to take that on when he hasn't proven he can be a vocal point of an offense? So what kind of size do you get back? Because if you get size that can't score, that's a problem because eventually you're going to need someone else on the starting five to give some points, and you don't want to have a liability out there where he is just offensively can't get anything done for you. So even if you trade Ayton, are you getting a quality trade for him that will address what you need? No point guard. Is Booker going to be comfortable bringing it up a lot? Is KD going to be comfortable bringing it up a lot? Is Beal going to be comfortable bringing it up a lot? KD's not getting any younger. I doubt he wants to be bringing the ball up 40% of the time. So then you're going to put on Booker, who's never done that. A lot of variables here. You literally have no bench. And even if you trade Ayton, what type of quality are you getting back? Now, some will say, okay, with the Beal trade, you can now get guys on the veteran minimum because they clearly want to play with a team that's going to be in title contention. That's fair. But now you're hoping on 7 players to come there. And you're assuming there's no other good situation out there. You're assuming that a team like Boston, LA, Miami, who was just in the finals, Memphis, who clearly will be missing job, but was a top 2 seed in the West. You have other teams that can be a desirable destination that if they're able to offer a bit more, will they go there for sure? And also, you got to look at some of the key guys that signed veteran deals last season going to be trying to make a little more this season. Guys just don't want to keep on signing for the vet minimum. And then the key thing is here, who do you get on the veteran minimum? What kind of players do you get? Are you assuming they all will come to Phoenix? Because, again, you need to fill out 7 roster spots here about. Actually, more like 9, but more like 7 will be playing, but really 9 in general. Are you going to have a quality bench? Because you've seen Kevin Durant gets a tad bit injured. Do you want to play him 72 games this year? Probably not. More in that 60 range and definitely not in the high 40s in minutes. More like in the mid-30s. Even if all 3 guys go off, that's only 75 points. So sure, you can say the veteran minimum. And in a different video, I will go more in depth and in post about who are the key guys that will be available on the vet minimum that could be available. And we'll see what team they currently on and who makes sense for them going forward. Because if your bet is, okay, we're just going to have, these 3 guys, and you're betting on 7 vet guys to come there, that's a dangerous bet because you're acting like there's not other superstars in other spots that would be desirable. You know, it's funny. People say with Kyrie and other players, oh, money matters, blah, 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 blah. But then when it comes to other guys, money don't matter? Because again, let's say Kyrie signed in Dallas. Don't you think Dallas would maybe want to try to get some of those guys? You're going to be on a team that would maybe give you more of a offensive chance to shine. Even with those 2 guards, they got to pass sometime. So that will be key here with this Beal trade. How does Phoenix get this team all together? Because you're really banking on the vet minimum because you have no other way to sign any other players. And you're hoping to strike gold on the 18 deal, but I think that would be harder now because teams around the NBA does not want to help a big 3 become even better. So especially with Ayton's deal locked in and him not having a great postseason, I don't know what kind of deal you'll get for him. You'll have to get lucky on that deal, and you'll have to get lucky on getting around 7 to 9 players to agree to come on the vet minimum for around $2.6 million. That's a lot of luck and hoping. Again, in the media and some casual fans, because they only follow the back of the name of the jersey and not the reality on the floor, they will assume, oh, this team is going to be great. And I will admit, they'll be a top 5 seed, maybe top 6. But to assume they're top 2 or some favorite is ridiculous. Because you cannot say, oh, well, I think Denver can beat them. Well, hold on a second then. You're saying they have a size problem. So Anthony Davis and Djokovic is pretty much even in town. I think AD is a tad bit better. So then they had a big problem against LA, Denver, and some other teams. And I think a bigger key here, look at again, the bigger keys here, how does Bradley Beal adjust to not having a high rate to be used anymore? He'll have to find a more get in where he fits in. He does have a good catch and shoot rate, but how much of that is a lot? He's not used to doing that a lot sometimes. How he adjusts to that. So that's key. And then lastly, how does Phoenix fill out this roster? Because you have 3 players currently, and I'm not including Ayton because I feel he'll be traded. KD, $47.5 million. Beal, $46.5 million. Booker, $36 million, and I believe I said KD, $47.5 million. You also have Payne, which is going to be about $6.5 million. Wainwright, almost $2 million. A total of $171.2 million in total. The salary cap is already $134 million. So Phoenix is already right now over the salary cap. That's why I believe Ayton will be traded, and I did not include him in that list here. They're over luxury tax, which is $162 million. And then you have the second apron, which is basically the NBA saying, look, we get you already have overspent crazy, but here's a couple extra million just to maybe smooth it because we get teams want to win, all that kind of stuff. They're even over that, which is $179.5 million when you include all the other incentives and taxes and all the other stuff with the contracts. All included. They're over everything. So where do you go for your players? You can't sign nobody key, and you're going to have to hope and pray and hope that every vet you want comes. And assuming no other team is going to scare them away saying, hey, you're going to be dealing with 3 players who love ISO. Where will you get and fit in? Especially 3 players who are not used to passing. They're not used to getting guys in good situations. It's not what comes to them naturally. That's why the trade Chris Paul on that was crazy, because Chris Paul is clearly going to get a buyout from Washington and be free to go wherever he wants to go. And I believe he'll choose one of the 2 teams in LA. So again, how will Bradley Beal adjust to not having a high rate being used? And how will Phoenix fill out this roster with not a lot of options, with no money to spend, and having to hope for the vet minimum when players will probably have other options at a little bit higher pay possibly? And some of those vets last year that took the vet minimum definitely are trying to do it again. They're trying to get a little more in. So again, we will see as we get into next month in July how Phoenix fills out this roster. And they're definitely a top 5 team. But to assume they're top 2 or even a finals contender, it's a little too soon. Let's see how they fill out this roster. Until then, stay tuned. I have a new video coming out soon as well that I'll be talking about the key vets that will be available for the vet minimum and see if that will be spots that Phoenix can look at to sign guys. We will see going forward. Again, I'm curious to see how this roster gets filled out from this Bradley Beal trade. But that's the first big domino of the NBA offseason. Bradley Beal has been traded to the Phoenix Suns.